Yay.
Yay. Hi, everybody. Welcome.
Hello.
I am Sarah and you're on my channel, Steeped in Books. And yeah, we're just going to go around and introduce. So Jen, why don't you go ahead and start and tell us about yourself and what you're reading?
Yeah, hi, I'm Jen from the Book Refuge. I'm going to be, well, I have the physical copy here, but I have this on Kindle Unlimited. I was telling the ladies beforehand, I'm really stingy with the Lisa Kleypes's I haven't read yet because there's a finite number that I have left. So I try to only read like one or two a month because I only have like 8 left to go, and I'm sad. But I'm just starting Suddenly You tonight, which, if you don't know, this woman hires herself a escort for her 30th birthday as like a present for herself.
As one would, yes.
Yeah.
Right.
She's a spinster. She's officially on the shelf, and she's like, you know what? I want a fun night for my birthday.
Mhm.
But the person who shows up isn't actually I don't think it's actually the prostitute. So she's gonna think he's the prostitute. That's what I think is about to happen. So that just sounds delicious. So I'm excited.
Jen, are you 30?
No, I'm only 27.
Oh my
There you
God,
go.
you're a baby.
I know. Hi.
I don't feel like a spinster yet. Thank you.
Oh, so funny.
Nicole.
Oh, is it my turn? Okay, I am Nicole from the channel Who Picked This Book, and I'm going to probably finish one book and then start another, but I have about 30 pages left in Mari's Mistake by Ruby Dixon. Loving it. And then I just picked up this beauty, A Touch of Stone.
That is a gorgeous edition.
Yes, it's so beautiful.
You have to read it.
So yeah, it's so good. Fantasy romance. This is the second book in the series, and I just cannot wait to get into this world because it is just epic.
Awesome.
So
Bethany?
Wait, who's next?
Bethany?
That's you,
Oh,
Bethany.
right.
Yeah.
Hi.
No, you're
Yes,
fine.
it's me. Hi, I'm Bethany. My channel's Denise Thoughts. I am reading The Friend Zone by Abby Jimenez on my Kindle.
Ooh.
And I'm about 40% in. And so that's about a guy and girl, best man and maid of honor meet. Maid of honor really likes him. And she really, really likes him, starts falling in love with him, even though her boyfriend's overseas. But she's has infertility issues. So she's really finding that as a barrier because he really, really wants kids and he talks about it often. So, but I'm really enjoying it so far. Like the banter is really good. The chemistry is really good. So yeah.
Awesome. Chloe.
Well, I'm Chloe. My channel name is Always Booked, and I am reading Pay It Forward by Catherine Ryan Hyde. I'm doing Reading Rush, so this is the book that I have seen the movie and not read the book, and so I'm hoping to finish it. I've got it on audio too, and the audiobook is wonderful, and so I'm hoping to finish it. It's about a little boy. He's like 12, I think, and he has this idea for his social studies class. His teacher gives him the idea of like or gives an assignment saying like, what is one way you can change the world? And so he comes up with this theory or concept of paying it forward, where you do something nice for somebody and then they do it for 3 people, they do it, and it expands. And so I'm really liking it, but I feel like it's kind of like gone off on a lot of side tangents, and there's a romance in here with his mom and his teacher. And I am just like, not really loving it. And, I know for some reason the book, it's like boring me. And
I love the movie. So I just figured
let me tell you something I'm angry about. The first bit of this talks about the teacher is a black man, and the movie, it's Kevin Spacey. Like, why are you watching this?
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm angry.
And like multiple times they talk about his ethnicity and stuff, and it's Kevin Spacey. Like, what?
When was that movie out?
Yeah.
90.
Yeah,
There's your answer right there.
It could have easily done with Denzel Washington, though. I mean, come on.
Or like
that was
anybody.
and
he's got like an eye patch and stuff. And I mean, he's very different in the book than he is in the movie. So because I went on IMDb because I'm like, am I remembering this wrong? No.
Right. You're like, is it the same book?
So
no, whitewashing at its finest.
Yeah. So I'm like, maybe that's why the romance. I'm like, this isn't even the right person. Like, I'm just pissed about this whole thing in general.
Aw.
That's the bad thing about like when you see the movie first.
Yes.
You like have you
Mhm.
can't not see the people the way you
Right.
saw them.
Yes.
Right.
And this is why I
Yep.
don't
Yep.
do adaptations.
Mhm.
Lesson learned.
Yep.
Denzel
There's
was
my
awesome.
rant for the
Miss
night.
He-
Sorry.
He should have been given that part. He was a huge movie star in the 90s. Like he would have been amazing.
Right.
Like, come on.
Oh my God. Yes. Yes.
Okay, so my name is Bree, and I am going to start something on Kindle Unlimited, and it's called Back to Delaware by Andrea Hopkins. Ain't that cover gorgeous?
Oh.
Oh my God.
It sounds a little dark. I guess the hero was like in drug rehab, so it sounds like it's a second chance romance, and I think
Ooh.
it's an interracial romance. The author is I found her on Instagram today. It's not she's in an interracial marriage. She's an army wife. She has like 4 kids, and I'm like, well, I just want to read everything that you wrote. And I think the twist that is like maybe while he's been in rehab, maybe she started like a relationship with his brother because he says something like, "My brother's not going to get in the way," kind of thing. So I'm intrigued, but y'all know I don't do dark very well. So
Wait for you.
I'm gonna try.
So obviously you guys know who I am if you're on my channel, but Sarah from Steeped in Books, just in case. And I'm not loving this book, but I'm almost done. I am reading something with a big glare on it. It's His Country Cinderella by Karen Rose Smith. The movie is coming out on Thursday. Like Harlequin's going to do a live stream of it. And so I wanted to read the book first. And it's a insta love, which I'm already not a fan of. It's like 2 weeks in. Oh my God, I love you so much. And
Hard to
he's
do.
also like this huge, like mega country star, but yet no one in this small town has recognized him. Like, how is this possible?
Yeah.
He's grocery shopping. He's just, and I'm like, really, no one in this
He
town
would be
has
on a
noticed?
magazine cover.
You know,
That's
and
all
he's.
BS.
I'm just like, eh. So I'm gonna actually do the text to speech, so I can sit and knit on my sock while I am doing it. So yeah. So we're gonna start the timer for 40 minutes and mute ourselves, and I'll see you guys in a bit.
Okay.
Yay! Okay, 40 minutes are up, everybody.
Yay.
Already.
Yeah, that one.
I know, right? So does anybody want to talk about what they read or anything?
Mine is pretty interesting. I guess I can, because it was only the beginning of it.
So was your assumption right?
Yeah. So the lady in here who hires the prostitute, she's a writer, and the guy who showed up at her house, and then he didn't sleep with her, but he kissed her and stuff. He's like a literary agent basically, and he was showing up at her house to like get her books in his, like, he wanted her books or something like that, and instead he did that. And now we're just at the point where like she's like, oh, this person, I never want to meet this guy. He's such a, he's not the greatest guy or whatever. And then she sees him. So that's where I like stopped just when you said to stop. I'm like, oh God. I just saw. So thankfully he didn't do the deed with her or anything, or that would make him kind of an asshole. But I mean, anyway. Wow. How about you guys?
Well, I did finish Mari's Mistake by Ruby Dixon, and of course, HEA. But this was like a couple that I was worried about because of the last two books. It was like things were kind of like touch and go there for a second, but romance, guaranteed happily ever after. So I'm like, yay! And then Ruby Dixon does these things in her epilogues where it just sets up the next book. So I'm just like, great, I'm all caught up now. I have to wait.
I hate that.
I didn't quite finish Pay It Forward, but I have 30 minutes left on the audiobook, and it got to a very emotional scene. And the audiobook, I'm just telling you, the audiobook is wonderful. Like it's there's a male and female narrator, and
I love those.
yeah, they're doing so good. And like in the emotional part, like I'm not a crier in books, but if I was, it would have got me because it was like there you could like hear the emotion in their voice, and it was really good. Downer, sorry guys.
Yeah, but that's the best.
I read 44 pages of Back to Delaware. Awesome. And it starts off, so I don't think it's going to be dark. I just think it's going to be emotional because like it starts off the first chapter. When we're like in high school and you have that first really bad breakup and it's like, what do you mean we're not going to be together?
I'll never love again.
You said we were forever.
You gave me a promise ring.
It's like that, like the worst. And I'm like trying not to laugh, but then I'm like, this is serious. Like that first breakup with your first love is so serious. And so that happens, and then it's like 6 years later, and he's back, and he's not really stalking. He just like doesn't know how to approach it yet because he like left how he did kind of thing. So he's like laying low, but he knows that like she's been like hanging out with his brother and he thinks his brother's in love with her kind of thing. So I think he's just trying to like get a feel of like, how do I approach this? It's good. It's good.
I was reading The Friend Zone by Abby Jimenez, and I'm about 40% in, but I added 3% more. But she's just broke up with her boyfriend overseas, and he thinks she's all bent out about the breakup, but really, she's upset by the fact that she's, she doesn't think she can be with this guy. So he thinks one thing's happening and she thinks the other. But I really like their perspectives a lot, going back and forth, and I really, really like him. So I'm enjoying I think he's just very, very like, I love a guy who's just so into a girl that he's just like, there's just something really like, he's just like totally just falling in love with her. And it's just really nice to see. I just love a guy character that does that. It just makes me feel things.
And you gotta love that man, Mike.
Dog man fight. I love that. I also love that she has her own business with all the dog stuff. I think that's pretty cool. I like that about her like character. Anyway, I don't want to go on a tangent, but yeah, and give too much away. But yeah, so
That's what we're here for. You can
That's
go on
right.
any tangent you want.
That's right. That's
That
right.
sounds cool.
I just can't wait for you to finish it because I read it and it's kind of a controversial romance book. So
controversial. Oh my goodness.
I ain't gonna tell you. Just finish it.
Just go to Goodreads.
Did you like it
Go
or
to
not
Goodreads,
like it?
Stephanie.
Some people like the way that it ends, and some people don't.
I'm scared of that one. I mean, as somebody who has fertility issues, yeah. Like,
Oh, yeah.
That's fair.
you know, I don't know. Just because I have heard so many mixed things that I'm like, this will either really piss me off or I'll like it.
Yep.
And I think that's kind of that's a trigger warning anyway. I mean, I feel like people should always know like what their limits are and what their, capabilities are. If that's something that's your limit, then totally understandable, So some it can be hard to read sometimes for those kind of situations too.
But with that one, it's hard because it literally is at the end of the book. So, but she actually wrote the Happy Ever After playlist first, and then the Friend Zone came out. So after reading the Happy Ever After playlist, I was like, okay, I kind of see it.
Okay, that's good to know. Because I have the audiobook for that one right now on Libby. So I was going to finish this and then switch over to that.
It's
so
good.
Knowing that they're connected, then that's interesting. I've heard people either like the Friend Zone and don't like Happily Ever After, or they like Happily Ever After and don't like the Friend Zone. So I think it seems to be one or the other, not both. So I'll see where I'm at.
And do you have to read them in order, or Brie, can you read them in the other order?
After I read the Happy Ever After playlist, I was like, I don't know. I feel like you could totally. I mean, the couple from the Friend Zone are in the Happy Ever After playlist. So if you're gonna be like, how did they get together, kind of thing. But
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't really think you do. I don't know.
Okay. Brie from In Love and Words is saying she loved the Friend Zone.
Yes, we loved it.
Yeah.
And she's saying to read the Friend Zone first.
That's how they were published, is that one first.
Yeah,
and then
that's how they were first.
it's not written. That's interesting.
Okay.
Interesting.
I only got 2 chapters read in my book because I'm listening. It's text to speech, but it's on the Harlequin app because that's where I had the book from. And the text to speech, you cannot speed it up. So I'm just like, oh, good Lord. And he wants to,
the reader dread heard around
the world.
Once you're used to sped up words, you can never go back.
Oh,
like
Lord,
it's
true.
true. My sister only listens at one point. Like, how do you listen at?
It's
at 3.
You cannot
but
go
you
back.
can't go backwards.
No.
Like sometimes I try to go faster and like I'm just not ready yet. Like I try to go up a little bit more, but 1.7 is as fast as it can be where I can still understand everything. And like anyway, but I walked into the house while she was like listening to it at one point and I'm like, oh my gosh, like I feel like I'm moving in slow motion. Like I don't know if any of you have ever listened to a Wheel of Time book, but or anything by Michael Kramer. If you've ever listened to anything by him, that man has a beautiful voice, but he reads so slowly. He's the only person I've listened to it at 2.0. But then Kate Redding reads like faster than him, so then I would have to like slow it down when they would switch chapters. And it was Wheel of Time just doesn't like me. That's why
I just finished Beard Science by Penny Reed, and it's the dual narrators. And I mean, it's an average size book. It's like 360 pages, but it's like 17 million hours on audio. It's like, 14 hours on audio. Yeah. And I'm like, how is this a thing?
Yeah.
I like
hate
2.5 speed, you know?
I hate when dual narrators, like, to me, that's like the editor's issue, or the director who's like putting their stuff together, when either their like pace doesn't match or their tone doesn't match. Like, I just listened to, I think I might have said this on a previous something, but I listened to Before I Ever Met You by Karina Halley, which I love that book. It was a reread. And like the guy doing the voice of, like, it was an age gap. So he's like 42 and supposed to be the sophisticated guy. And he sounded like he was a jock who was like 20. Just in how he did his voice. So we have the girl's voice who sounded way more mature than him. And then they would switch over to him being like, oh yeah, and I just wanted to do this to her, whatever. And it sounded like I was listening to The Deal or something. And I'm just like, this doesn't match. Like, you don't have the voice of the. So I ended up like, I would listen to her chapter and literally then like read his chapters, because I listen and read a lot. And I'm like, the hero's voice is supposed to be the money. Like, that's where the money's at. And when the hero's voice is good, like, I listened to an interview on Fated Mates about like her audio narrator, and like that lady like works on the hero's voices. She's like, if the hero's voice doesn't do stuff for people, then I failed, because that's where the money.
She
But anyway,
even,
sorry.
in regular conversation, sounded like she was narrating an audiobook.
Yes, she did. She's so sexy. Her voice was well, because she pronounces everything perfectly. Like, but anyway, those are some of my rants about audiobooks. Is like, that's why the sample is important. And if the sample doesn't let you hear both voices,
you're like, I don't know.
yeah, that's why I really because it's like, not KU, AE or whatever, Audible Escape. Yeah. I'm just like,
well, like with
anyway.
Audible, it lets you go up to like 3.5 speed, but then like your digital library doesn't let you go up that high. And I'm just like, oh, I'm ruined.
Well, I'm not at a 3.0 speed yet, so I'm safe.
Don't get there.
I love it.
Just
I'll
stay
keep
at
it low.
1.7. Sweet summer child.
Well, I want to get to a 2 at some point, but every time I try, I can't. But that's okay. I found that if I do it with a book I've already read before, like, that's when I started moving up. Is like, I re-listened to the Lunar Chronicles and I sped it up, and then when I listened to another book, I was like, oh, I can't go back now. Because it's then like in your head. So anyway, people who are listening, if you'd like to know how to get faster listening speed, I suggest listening to books you already know them, so that you're not missing anything. And then
for sure.
Anyway.
And sometimes I have to start the audiobook slower, like the first chapter I have to put it, and then as I go, speed it up a bit as I get used to the narrator's voice.
Absolutely.
You know, and then my husband says it sounds like I'm listening to Alvin and the Chipmunks narrate an audiobook. I'm like, but I could totally understand it because I talk quickly as well.
Basically how all my audiobooks sound.
My husband's like, what are you listening to? And I'm like, he's like, no, that's a foreign language.
Like, I think in America, I think like all of our accents and cadences are a lot slower, because like I think of when I went to Colombia for a trip, like they speak one of the fastest forms of Spanish down there of like anywhere, and literally they're talking like so, plus I don't know what they're saying anyway, but they're talking so fast that you're like, this speed level, just think of all the accents in, they're all like slower drawl kind of ones than in other places in the really talk that. Just interesting.
I was just going to add to the conversation. I just finished the audio for Ninth House, and that was I liked the audio of that. It was really good to go. I thought the pacing for both of them, or the female and male, was really good. Except I like the male character more, and he wasn't really in it, sort of.
I physically read that book though, but I love that book. I cannot wait for the next.
I want to pick that one up.
I'm scared to read it.
It dragged a lot, I'm not gonna lie, but then it really started to pick up and it got interesting. And if you like morally gray characters, I definitely think Alex is a morally gray character, so
for sure.
Interesting.
It's good stuff.
Anybody got anything else, or shall we say goodnight? Thank you all for joining me tonight.
Yes.
Thanks for hosting me there.
Thank you. And next Tuesday, I'm not sure who's hosting. And a shameless plug for me. Oh, it's Nicole. Yay. Yay. Saturday on my channel, we're going to be doing the kickoff for this summer fling. So join us for the live show for that. So shameless plug.
Yay.
Hopefully we'll see you guys then.
Go read romance.
Yeah.
Yes. Read all the romance.
They're all so cool.
Join our Discord.
Yes, join the Discord.
We're at almost
Yes.
100 people
Follow
already.
on Instagram.
Yep.
Yeah, what
There's-
else can we
there's-
plug? I'm doing a giveaway. Go to my
We'll tell it
channel.
all.
Oh, we gotta
Yeah,
go.
Chloe's doing a giveaway.
And read romance.
Yes.
Those Mass Market paperback. They're not that bad.
They're not.
Don't be a romance hater all your life.
That's right.
Oh, gosh.
Star Wars is a romance. Lord of the Rings is a romance.
Oh my god.
Just saying. It's okay. There's nobody who doesn't love romance who's watching this right now. Like unless any of your
True.
family members are watching
But
us.
people
Like,
Yeah.
find the video.
right?
Yeah.
I was like, this is a 40-minute where we like. There was someone who's my viewer who commented on our live show on my channel and was like, "So you guys just like read for 40 minutes?" And I was like, yeah,
Yes.
it was fun."
It's kind
And
of
it
a
was
thing.
glorious. Thank
Because
you.
he was
Yes,
like, "What is this
exactly.
video?" Came across it later, and I was like, "It's what it said."
Exactly. Oh, that's so funny. Oh,
Yeah, it was. All right, I love you guys. Talk
Bye,
to you
everybody.
later.
Have a good night.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye.